The tragic love of Apollo and HyacinthusIn, the golden days of ancient Greece, when gods walked among mortals, the sun god Apollo shone brighter than all others. With his radiant beauty, golden hair, and unmatched skill in music and poetry, he was adored by many. But among all his admirers, it was a mortal youth named Hyacinthus who captured his heart. Hyacinthus was a prince of Sparta, renowned for his beauty. His deep, dark eyes held the glimmer of the Aegean Sea, and his laughter was as light as the summer breeze. Many suitors both mortal and divine sought his affection, but it was Apollo who won his love. The god and the youth were inseparable. They roamed the fields together, sang songs that made the nymphs weep, and whispered secrets only lovers share. Apollo taught Hyacinthus the art of prophecy, the melodies of the lyre, and the secrets of archery. But above all, they found joy in sports and games, especially the throwing of the discus. One fateful afternoon, under the clear blue sky, the lovers played their favorite game. Apollo, eager to impress Hyacinthus, spun the discus with divine strength. The bronze disc cut through the air like a shooting star. Hyacinthus, eager to prove his own skill, sprinted to catch it. But fate is cruel, and the gods are jealous. Some say it was mere misfortune, but others whispered that the jealous west wind, who had long harbored feelings for Hyacinthus, saw his chance. In a moment of envy, he blew a mighty gust, altering the discus's path. The discus struck Hyacinthus on the head with a sickening crack. The youth collapsed, his lifeblood staining the earth in crimson petals. Apollo rushed to his side, cradling him, whispering desperate prayers. "Hold on, my love," he pleaded, his golden tears falling onto Hyacinthus's pale cheeks. "I am a god, I will save you." But even gods cannot defy fate. As Hyacinthus's breath grew shallow, Apollo tried to call upon his healing powers, but the wound was too great. He watched helplessly as the light faded from Hyacinthus's eyes. Heartbroken, Apollo refused to let Hades claim his beloved. He swore that Hyacinthus's name would never be forgotten. From the boy's spilled blood, Apollo created a fleur delicate bloom, with deep violet petals, marked by sorrowful letters. Alpha Iota, the Greek cry of mourning. This flower, the hyacinth, would forever remind the world of their love. And so, though Hyacinthus perished, his beauty and memory lived on. Apollo, the god of light, carried his sorrow through the ages, mourning his lost love each spring when the hyacinths bloomed. Even the gods, it seems, are not immune to the cruel hand of fate. There aren't many direct stories between Apollo and Hyacinthus beyond their tragic love affair, but variations and interpretations add depth to their relationship. Some versions suggest that their bond was filled with joy before the tragic accident, and others imply that Hyacinthus might have been reborn or granted a form of immortality. Here are a few expanded elements and possible interpretations of their story. The happy days of Apollo and Hyacinthus bore tragedies struck. Apollo and Hyacinthus shared a passionate and joyful companionship. Ancient sources hint that Apollo took Hyacinthus on adventures across Greece, teaching him music, poetry, and even medicine. Some say Hyacinthus was present when Apollo competed in musical contests against the Marsyas and the god Pan. The god also introduced Hyacinthus to the arts of prophecy at Delphi, where the oracle would later be established. This suggests that Hyacinthus, though mortal, was being prepared for a greater destiny, perhaps even to ascend to the ranks of demigods. 2. The jealous rivalry. Zephyrus's role. While many versions focus on the accident, others emphasize the jealousy of Zephyrus, the west wind. Some say Zephyrus had long been in love with Hyacinthus and tried to lure him away from Apollo with gifts of cool breezes and whispered words. When Hyacinthus rejected him in favor of Apollo, Zephyrus's sorrow turned to rage. Some retellings claim that Zephyrus did not merely alter the course of the discus, but hurled it with deliberate force, ensuring Hyacinthus's death. If true, this makes the tragedy not just an accident of fate, but an act of divine jealousy. 3. Apollo's mourning and the festival of Hyacinthus. Apollo's grief was so immense that he withdrew from Olympus, wandering the earth in mourning. Some believe this is why Apollo was later associated with rites of purification and mourning. In ancient Sparta, a grand festival called the Hyacinthia was held in Hyacinthus' honor. This 3-day event celebrated his life and mourned his death. It began with somber rites, followed by joyous festivities, symbolizing Hyacinthus' transformation from a tragic figure to an immortalized hero. For Hyacinthus' afterlife, a different fate. Some later versions suggest that Apollo, unable to accept Hyacinthus' death, pleaded with Zeus or Hades to grant him a new form of existence. Some possibilities include becoming a flower. This is the most well-known myth, where Apollo turns Hyacinthus's spilled blood into the hyacinth flower as a tribute, being taken to Elysium. As a beloved of a god, Hyacinthus may have been granted a place in the paradise of the afterlife, a connection to another myth. Some scholars suggest that Hyacinthus may have been an early version of another hero, who later gained divine status. 5. In some interpretations, Hyacinthus is seen as a symbol of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, much like Persephone's descent and return. Since the flower blooms in spring, some believe it signifies that Apollo's love for Hyacinthus was not in vain, that in a way, he is reborn each year. While no major myths continue their love story directly, these variations show that Apollo's love for Hyacinthus was not a fleeting romance but a tale of devotion, loss, and remembrance that echoed through history.